Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It is still in the description below. It is still your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today we are discussing the first generation Vacheron Constantin Overseas Chronograph. This model launched in 1999, was only made through 2003, so there aren't a whole lot of first generation chronos, fewer still in full bracelet yellow gold. This is a watch that is reasonably sized compared to subsequent overseas at 40 millimeters in diameter, 12.7 millimeters thick, and measuring from lug tip to lug tip. These little horns represent the outermost extremities. Total distance across the wrist is 51.5 millimeters. There's something about these first generation overseas chronos on gold bracelets that just reeks of quality. It exudes a sort of indestructible heft and substance. Really impressive stuff. On the wrist, it feels bigger than it is, not because of its dimensions, but because of its weight. You can also see how well it fits on a 16 centimeter circumference wrist. So through generation 2 and generation 3, the overseas chrono got a lot bigger. And you can see this watch is the best bet if your wrist is smaller. You could wear this on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference on its bracelet. And with a sloped bezel and a thickness of only 12.7 millimeters, it will slide underneath the cuff. Remember, just as every Marine is a rifleman, regardless of whether he's in motor pool or a Harrier pilot, every Vacheron is also a dress watch. It's just the ethos of the brand. Now, taking a quick look at the bracelet, you can see how it's integrated into the case, preserving the inspiration of the overseas, which was Jörg Heisig's 1977 Vacheron 222. In 1996, designers Vincent Kaufman and Dino Modolo teamed up to channel the spirit of the 222 into a new generation sports watch, which became the overseas. Initially, there was only the automatic. There wasn't a chrono, and in 1999, the chrono followed, and it preserves that full integrated bracelet sports watch aesthetic where case flows into lugs, flows into links. And you can see there is a taper of the bracelet down from the lugs. It's held on using screws and bars, a relatively more expensive but also relatively more secure method of attaching a bracelet to a case, and I like that on a heavy and valuable watch. We have a little bit of a downward taper, but you can also see that there is a lot more nuance to this first generation bracelet than the subsequent two. We have these two channels down the center, staggered link size, design, alignment. You can see there's even a little bit of a fluting to the edge of the center links. In profile, it's polished, and you can see that there's a rolled bevel that transitions from the tops to the side. We do have removable links here, fixed in place using screws. And if you look, you can see that we've got a couple of different sized screws here, as we've got the primaries, and then we've got this intermediate sized link. In case you find yourself in between sizes, you can remove that intermediate sized link and fine tune the fit. Another reason why this bracelet is a little bit different than the ones that came after is that, forgive the fingerprints here, but it is mirror polished on its interior, a level of attention to detail seen on no subsequent overseas. We have a robust clasp. It's a little bit quirky. You can see that we've got two different swing arms. Then we've got spring-loaded, oversized ceramic pin snaps. The idea here being that the clamshell lock that locks it together can't wear down the ceramic, so the tolerances will remain snappy. But there's another lock internally. This allows you to lock the clasp. This opens it up and unlocks it. You can see the little Maltese cross there. That's the logo of the company. You'll find that all over the watch. So let's say now I'm going to close the clasp. Okay, both sides. Lock it like that, and then lock it again with a clamshell. You can see the clamshell has that little Maltese cross motif. You'll find it again in the design of the bezel. You'll find it on the crown. And you'll find it at the head of the dial right there. Now the case is rather sheer and massive. It's imposing. There's a reason this watch is so heavy. There's a little bit of a rolled bevel that transitions from the case hood to the flanks, and then the top of the case is all satinated. The bezel is polished, but its recesses are satinated. We have screw-down crowns and screw-down chronograph pushers with a unique crown guard and shear guard profile for the pushers and crown, not seen on the subsequent two generations. We have all screw-downs with a water resistance of 150 meters, so quite impressive stuff for high horology. And then you'll note we have a wonderfully smooth vertical clutch engagement to the chronograph. So when you start it, there's no jump or extraneous movement. That's the benefit of a vertical clutch. There's also another benefit, which is that you can leave the chrono running full time without hazard to the movement. This is a column wheel chronograph caliber. The column wheel action is very crisp. Frederic Piguet 1185, more on that in a moment. The dial features a inner bezel that's polished and reflective. Then we have these lovely faceted dart-style fluted individual hour indices, and they are made of gold, as are the hands and the logo. You can see Arabic numerals 60 up at the top, lovely little flourish. We have a triangular counterweighted blackened Lancet-style chronograph seconds hands. The hands for the seconds, minutes, and hours of the chronograph are all blackened. A quirk of the first generation chronograph lets you know you're looking at hours and minutes, different from the second generation in that it's symmetrical. Second generation would have a quote-unquote big eye, oversized minutes register. Let's do a lume shot. No shortage of luminescence on the dial or the hands. We have a much-loved feature that was on the first and second generations overseas chronos, and it went away with the third generation, and that's the big date up at 12 o'clock. It features a quick-set mechanism, so you can rapidly cycle the date, which is kind of fun to do. The watch does not have hacking, but that's just about the only refinement it lacks. Turn it all over. On the reverse side, we use that little release system again. We have I'm just going to show you here because the sticker that has the SKU number is getting in my way there. We have the image of the Italian naval training vessel Amerigo Vespucci. You could see circular satin finish outboard, radial satin finish on the inner ring, and then the center has been polished and chiseled. So 4 different finishes on the caseback. You can also see that the caseback design, I alluded to this earlier, features the Maltese cross, and then there's another one up at the top. And yes, the ship is designed as closely as possible to mirror the Amerigo Vespucci, said to be one of the most beautiful full-rigged ships in the world. I'll give you a little bit of a better look at that right there. If you love this watch, you should know what's inside. Underneath that caseback, we have the Frederic Piguet 1185, originally devised for Blancpain. It's been used on many high-end chronos from Vacheron, Blancpain, Breguet, and Audemars Piguet, among others, including Harry Winston and illustrious clientele. It is a thin, automatic, integrated chrono that's only 5.5 millimeters thick. It has unidirectional winding, a 40-hour power reserve, 5-position adjustment like a chronometer, a quick set for the date, a 3 hertz beat rate, vertical clutch, and column wheel, all pivoting on 37 joules. Now you can't see it. It is a very handsomely finished movement, largely hand-executed, worthy of a watch like this and the Vacheron name. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.